Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people, and welcome back to Pine Pass in Cities Skylines, where today we have quite a bit that I want to try to tackle. Hopefully, while we're working in the background, the population will get to 14,000, and we can. Mainly, I'm concerned. I want to get this guy. We could upgrade our. No, that's not the eco plant. We can't upgrade our water treatment. When did we get that? When do we get that? Not till 28,000. So we are a long ways away. But we are continuing to see growth in the city. Occasionally, we have a building there. Goes one right there. That will upgrade, and that will give a few more spots for people to move in. And so that is always helpful. The city's growing, usually about 40 to 50 sims per week. So we're going to just let the city kind of chill in the background when it's not paused. The name of the game today is infrastructure. So years ago, we could see there was a mining operation that was operating in this part of the county. It was completely unincorporated. There were even a few homes that had been constructed, complete with outhouses. Sure, I guess it was a long time ago that this mining community existed. Unfortunately, due to the harsh environment, frequent snowfall, it just became not only unviable economically to get everything in and out, it also became a place where people just had no quality of life. The winters were harsh. There was in the winter, in the deepest of winter, supplies for not only the mining industry to keep it operating and repaired, but also food and clothing and basic necessities for the few citizens that lived out here to support the mining operation. They had trouble getting them in and out. The rail was here. However, we can see that even the rail has challenges. There's about a 25% grade here, and in the winter with ice, it became unpassable even for trains. As the highway came through, as the state wanted to connect multiple regions via interstate, it became possibly more viable, but the problem is the mining company was still around. It still owned the land, but there was no population. There was no workforce out here. Now that there is development occurring, even though the name of the game is going to be tourism and leisure out on that side of the river, there is still an opportunity for mining. Granted, at first glance, it doesn't look like there's much. It's all on the hill, which presents some challenges, but maybe just through modern technology and being able to rescan underground, see what's here, and possibly through the power of YouTube editing, they've discovered that there is indeed quite a bit of ore in this area. Yeah, I used the ground resources brush. So they've approached the county, because this is just outside of the city limits. They've approached the county. The county has said, hey, you know what? The city has expansion rights, annexation rights to this area. So you're going to have to work with the city to see what their wish list is. And the city has an extensive wish list. This is going to be very profitable for our mining operation. We'll talk about who is behind that a little bit later. But it is going to be a very profitable area. There's a lot of ore here that they have recently discovered, and they're going to be making some bank. Wow, there are trains actually coming through here. Kind of surprised by that. I guess I shouldn't be though. It does exist as a route. There are issues with our railroad though. You can see to get out, they have to come down and around. I'd like to maybe bring that in here and then split off. But anyway, so the county and the city have both said, well, first of all, We don't want all of that traffic just being funneled down one highway. There is another interstate through the region that the state worked with the federal government to get in that connects different areas of the state. However, Pine Pass has no access, and they want access. And they've told the mining company they're going to have to help foot the bill for that. So everybody gets together. The city decides how much they can pony up for the new highway interchange here, a new highway interchange over there, and then, of course, a state highway to connect the two. But that's not all. Sterling Davies, being one of the prominent employers in town, has definitely seen his influence over local politics and zoning increase. He offers quite a few jobs, 400 in fact, out of the 6,400 available. So while he's not the sole employer, he is a big employer in one single location. And we know that he has been working and quietly buying up parcels of land out on this hilltop to expand Davies Lumber's operation, and also to get it away from town so that this area can be sold back off, maybe make a little bit of money. As the city is growing, this land has become more valuable than it once was. However, one of the problems that our friend Sterling Davies keeps encountering is that occasionally he has to import trees because they're just not growing enough. They've got one sapling greenhouse and then 2 fields. This one's putting out 5,000, that's putting out 5,000, that's putting out about 7,000. And it would be a good time for him to, while he's looking at expanding, also think about maybe getting this area in a little better position to be able to turn a profit more consistently so that he doesn't have to worry. And planting trees is cheap. It's very cheap. This one, I come into this view so we can make sure that we are indeed getting some good coverage here. In fact, we can even probably boost the output of these guys by bringing some trees in down this way. So what we're going to do is give them just a couple more tree plantations. Let's come out of our industry view so I can see what we're doing here. I'm going to bring one right here all the way to this edge, and then we're just one more right next to it. And those two should mean that we won't have any future issues. I just realized these are all beech trees, and they really should be conifers to match the region. And then we'll go ahead and relock forestry. And if we take a look, not the greenest, hi, greetings, 19,000, not the greenest right here, but it'll be okay. Those are only going to give us about 4,000. But those two together, that's 8,400 more units of lumber. So that hopefully we can get things moving here a little bit better. But I would also like to see them start exporting some paper. It seems like we're kind of just sitting here at the 61% pretty consistently. And I think a lot of it's because the furniture factory is taking some of it up. That's fine, because it does give us a more profitable finished good. So we just hit 14,000, and that will resolve a problem that we've been having for a while. And we're actually going to take a look at a couple things before we get into building the highway interchanges. First, we want to add in just a couple of crematoriums. We are going to do that by way of eminent domain. We're going to bring in one right here next to the fire station in this corner of town, and then we're going to jump way over here into this corner of town. And I think, you know, we had this land previously zoned with something. I don't know what was originally here. I think it was commercial, but we haven't had anything come back in yet. So that's the perfect opportunity to add that there. Now, I like to change the different buildings to have different vehicles. In fact, I don't think I've done that everywhere. Actually, I think I will keep small fire trucks there. I don't know that the large ones would fit in that building. Once we get the bigger fire stations, we'll change those out. But I like doing the coroner's van for the crematorium. I usually do crematorium's coroner's van. We leave this on the basic hearse, which we can now empty this. And then anytime I do cryopreservatories or the Korean pack, whatever it's called, I really like it. Crematorium Memorial Park is kind of a beautiful asset. It's huge, but it's beautiful. I do the luxury hearse for those. Figure if you've got the money to be going to one of those facilities for your dead parts, you can afford, or you would expect to have your final send off in comfort and convenience. So let's take a look at our noise here from the highway. It's pretty significant, but I think we'll be okay. Since we have a little bit of demand still for residential, I do want to go ahead and use that. We'll leave a little bit of separation from the crematorium, and we'll just take that little bit of land that we didn't reclaim last time and go ahead and claim it now. So that gets the city in good shape, and we will now take a better look. So we could have purchased another tile, but I've already got 25 tiles unlocked. That gave us the Liberal Arts College campus, which we don't really need anytime soon. Gave us a couple more athletic facilities. Also gave us the large water tower, which could come in handy. And then a lot of transit options, which we are going to have to start thinking about transit soon. Right now, our traffic is beautiful, even without any transit at all. Like, we have no mass transit. Nothing. But a town of 14,000, you wouldn't really expect it, but I do think we're going to have to look at it sooner rather than later. So let's come over here real quick before we get started on that. Yeah, I think because we've got our academic works, I think there is merit in going ahead and getting our school in a better position to upgrade. The only problem is we haven't really unlocked anything new. Oh, no, we have. I take that back. We do have a couple of new things. We've got the IT club, the library. We've had the fountain. We've got the commencement office. And we have our academic statue. So let's think about where these can go. And I think the answer is probably going to be to the other side of the river. Maybe. That doesn't really fit there. No, it doesn't really fit there. I kind of wish this was turned around the other way. It'd be cool to have everybody be able to look out at the river once we get it over there. But I'm not really sure where that highway is going to come through, so I'm really hesitant to bring that out any farther at this point. So instead, we are going to give ourselves a little bit of space back here. We may eventually connect that, but for now, we're just going to leave it. Commencement. I would like to take advantage of a view, though. Let's bring this down right here. We can always add a bridge there later. And there. So you're not looking straight out into the water, but the water is there. And that's nice. But that doesn't get us near the attractiveness that we need. Sadly, such a silly, weird way to get upgrades done. Let's make it pretty. I'm going to do 2 of these statues because I'm going to replace one of them with the other one once we get them. So that gets us up to 780. We've still got 120 to go. Okay. So what do these give us? Like 25, I think. We could maybe justify a fountain across from our graduation site. That's kind of a nice plaza to have there. And that gets us up to 830. We're 70 away. So this is where I may just cheese it. Let's get an IT club in if we can fit it. I mean, we are nerds here after all. So it just fits here by the dorm. A little close to the street, but that's okay. I can live with that. And that gets us to 905. perfect. So with the number of students that we have currently, we can actually go ahead and increase our spending here. Maybe, yeah, that's good. We're breaking even. I'm good with breaking even. So we can increase our academic staff. And then I'm thinking maybe one of the nice things to do, we get an increased faculty bonus of 25%. Granted, it makes this more expensive, so maybe now we want to tamp that down. Oh, that didn't really raise our expenses all that much. But what it does is it makes these buildings even more effective. So tourism and travel will now have an even better boost. Same with the police academy. It'll give an even better boost to what we've been doing with those, which that one I believe reduces crime and increases jail cell capacity. Could be wrong on that. And then this just gives a boost to all of the commercial and tourism in town. So let's take a look and see what we're going to do for these interchanges. By the way, I did want to revisit this bit of education. Last episode, I mentioned that it felt like we were really overbuilding. We didn't. We're, granted, there's 700 there, but it's still barely available. So the first thing we're going to do is, since Sterling Davies has gotten his finger in the pot, he has said, hey, you know what, city, I want to help you expand this way. We've got somebody that's paying for big infrastructure anyways. Let's pool all of our resources together and get a new interchange for our future expansion up into the hills for the forestry. Give us direct access to the highway, which will be a good thing. And we're going to go ahead and plan for future expansion up into this area by making a connection that comes off this way. For now, it'll just sit empty, but that's okay. What we have to do, though, is, because we are going to sever the highway, I'm not going to do temporary roads. I know I could leave it running, pause, and all that, but we're not going to do that. This is a video game. The pause button exists because sometimes you need to pause. And wow, sometimes real life throws you a bone. So just right after I said sometimes you need to pause, my phone rang. It was my mom calling. We got a lot of irons in the fire today. My car is at the dealer mechanic for its, nothing's wrong with it. It's just the normal 15,000 mile, just routine. You know, my car's newish. It's time for its 15,000 mile service. And she wanted to know if that was done yet. Plus, her dog is at the groomer today. So, yeah, lots of irons in the fire right now. So we want some type of service interchange, because we are going to have a local road going across and over that way as well. We may eventually need to do a spur of the highway over to here for dedicated highway access, because that's going to be rough. If that's our only connection for this whole side, we can maybe get another one in down here that'll help us serve some of this area and get off that way. I don't know. So we're going to look at different service interchanges. I tend to think this one is going to see a lot of traffic. I just don't think there's any reason to expect it not to. Simply because we're going to have an industry out here, and we're going to have major development up on that hill and probably in that little valley as well. Not to mention the stuff that's going to be happening down here. So I think it would be wise to go ahead and build big now. And honestly, I didn't need to bring that up. I'm probably going to need to clear it back a little bit. We're going to use one of my favorite pre-built. This is made by MaxXF. Okay, let's try that again. Brendan talks. Take two. MaxFX. And I love this. It works really well. Like, really, really well. Sometimes, though, when you place it, it breaks a little bit, and you kind of have to do a couple fixes. But that's okay. If that happens, we will fix it. So we just want to get this. Sometimes it doesn't want to snap on. and you have to use anarchy to get it in place. And it looks like that is what's going to happen today. So we'll just grab anarchy and bring that right to about there. Is that how I want that? Yeah, that's pretty good for coming up this hill right here. We're in a kind of a flat spot. Over here we have challenges, but again, this is just going to sit dormant for now. And now you can see one of the things that happens, and I've re-downloaded this asset several times, but a lot of times these on-ramps break. And I don't really know why. This end is easy to fix, and so is what happened at the other end. We can just union those two nodes together. And that's lined up pretty well already. You would merge over from your run-on ramp, and then you would merge or split off that way to go there. So we just need to come down here and try our best. I could use move it to drag some stuff out of the way, and I may do that if I can't quite get these nodes. There's one of them. Nope, it didn't click it. There, I got it. And then it's hard to tell. Is this the node I want? Yeah. But you can see some strange things happened there when I did that. So now we can come in with node controller, and usually just a click from node controller fixes it. Yeah. I've used this interchange a lot. I really do like this interchange. A bit of a turn there, but I'm just going to live with it. I'm not going to go crazy trying to make this perfect. But what we do have is some strange things happening here. So I think if we come in with this and make sure these are, well, that's a normal node, so I can't really slope that one, but we can slope these. Make these look a little better. Just a little bit. That one is sloped. That is a middle, so there's nothing we can really do with it. And then down here, oh, that one's already sloped. Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a challenge there, trying to get that one to play nice. But maybe if we come here and slope that one, never mind. We're good. We're good. We will change the slope a little bit. And now you can see we have issues. The highway no longer really connects. And that's fine. We're going to make it a connection anyway. And it's going to look crazy. But if I'm right, this should all work out in the end. Whoops, I got out of the mod. So we're just going to create curve and put those in. And then we're going to come in here with our range it line. And we're going to go from here back to about there. Maybe we'll even bring that from here to about there. No, that's not gonna do what I want. That's not gonna look right, I don't think. Even that's a little bit much. So maybe we straighten this back out, which that's easy enough to do. Come in here and move it, and boom, right there like that. And that's pretty good, except that is not straight, and I want it straight. There we go, cool. And then we'll try arrange it line mode from here. So kind of move it, go back into arrange it line, and see if we can't get this to do something that I like. It may take a few tries, so bear with me. Yeah, we got there in the end. I'm good with that. I was just looking here. It looks like there's a bump here, but there's not. It's just a weird shadow. So that gets that reconnected, so we can unpause the game, and immediately trucks are like, "Ooh, I was on the highway and now I'm not." That's fine. They figured it out, and I love this interchange. It just lets traffic flow so well. The only problems you run into, excuse me, I have the hiccups. When don't I? Occasionally, if you get a lot of traffic wanting to go from one side to the other, it will cause a couple of issues, but usually not too much. And it's typically just the people trying to get out into this middle lane so that they can carry on and then jump over here into that lane once they get over here. Because I believe this already has all of its lane markings built in, if I recall. I don't think I have to do anything. No, I don't. So you can see that they can come out from this lane, come over here, come around, and then I thought that they were able to get into... So that can put them in this outer lane. Yeah, right there. They're able to then make their turn, and of course these guys coming on. So, cool. That gets that big interchange done, and Sterling Davies couldn't be happier about what's to come. But of course, the people funding all this are going to be over here. And this is where we have a bit more of a challenge. We've got a railroad in the way. We have an existing interstate right here. And we've got two huge different elevations. So, yeah, definitely a challenge. So we have a couple options. We could grade this and just knock that back and then come straight across the river here. That is certainly an option. We don't have any ship activity but way back here. That's all way out there. They don't come up the narrow, shallow river. So that's option one. However, let's take a look at our elevations on each side of the river. And the easiest way to do that is just grab the level tool and right click. So 67.34 and then right there 69. They're already kind of close. Nice, 69. Oh wait, there we go, funny number. They're already both kind of close. So I don't think I'd want to change that all that much. We do, however, want to kind of redo this rail. The rail is, well, it's just not good how it is. So the rail is going to move. And we are also going to, once again, pause the game. We're not going to get a whole lot in the way of population today, which is probably good because we also don't have enough heating for when the temperature gets really, really low. Thought I saw something over there flashing and it was disconnected, but it was just another, hey, we've got snow on the road icon. So we're going to get a pause and take a look at what we want to do right here. And I think I've had my eye on an interchange that I've never used, and I just want to give it a try. I like this offset. I don't know what SPUI stands for. Service. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know what it stands for. I mean, but I like it. I like the bridges. I like that everything comes together to one intersection. And I don't know how much traffic there's going to be over here. We can always, redo it later. But this thing's pretty large, and we've got the rail to contend with. We've also got these bridges that go across, and I'm not certain that that's the side that we would want the intersection on. I would think we would want the intersection on that side. So I think that, yeah, this makes a little bit more sense. So we're gonna come out of this real quick. We're gonna get rid of some of the highway that's here. We'll take this pretty far back, and then we can reestablish a curve as needed. And then I'm going to try to get that to connect, yeah, in a fairly straight line here, with the interchange being, let's take a look at our elevations. I want it to be pretty close to inside of this area for elevation, and I don't know that that is far enough over, so I'm going to back this off a little bit more and try again. And it's wanting to interact with the rail, so since we're going to be redoing the rail anyway, I'm just going to get rid of that. And it's not wanting to quite go where I want it. That is going to be quite the redo on the highway over here, isn't it? Yeah, I want it right like that. So it dips down. We do have some strangeness happening here, but this is an easy fix. The bridges, I think, kind of work nice with the elevated bits. They go up to that elevation and then come back down. They give us clearance over the highway if everybody's running off the road. The only big problem we have is this. And I think we can solve that fairly simply. I'm hoping that this won't be too bad. It is a 6% grade, but It's also an intersection where hopefully you'd be slowing down to go through it anyway. Question mark. So I think we might go with it. Oh man, this is a wintry area. We could possibly dip this down. And I know you're thinking, you said you're going to put a state highway through here. I am. But we've got to have these roads. And then we're going to connect over to the other area with just our 2-lane divided highway. That is what's going to take us the rest of the way. And we are going to redo the rail. We're going to bring it in a different area. So I want to go ahead and back that out quite a bit. And then we'll leave this for now. We're not going to worry about getting anything connected down there. But what we really should worry about is getting the highway reestablished. And I think, let's look at our train once again, maybe. See, that is the smoother bit. To bring it in this way, I think we'll be all right, though. So what I want to do is basically reestablish the highway to come straight through there and then turn. So we're going to eliminate all of this. Granted, this means that the city budget is now going to be footing the bill for upkeep on these roads. Oh well, it'll be all right. We're making plenty of money right now, so we should be just fine. We're going to once again let the mod do most of the heavy lifting here. Run that way, and then we will run that way, and that should get that connected beautifully. And then even though this isn't a curve, we'll just let it connect that for us as well. And that gets that in. We do have some areas where you can tell that there was some blasting. We also have some areas where the highway isn't quite at the same level on each side. What happened there? Are you guys okay? You gonna be okay? I think they were just freaking out that the road changed right in front of them, and they seem to be fine now. So what I want to do is real quick, just come through here with move it and set these nodes to roughly the same height. We don't have nodes directly across from each other, but oops, undo that. I think we can get a pretty good approximation. So I'm just going to run all the way down the highway and do this real quick. There we go. That looks better in between the two. It's still not perfect. There are still some bumps there, but I think that is more than anything just needing to come through with our softened terrain brush. Going to bring that strength way down, the size way up. And we're once again going to go into our train heights view because I just prefer that. And we're going to soften right along the edge of the highway. And just bring that to where we don't have such a sharp cliff next to each of these areas. Just hit that a little bit, and that's good. We've got a few imperfections, but it's okay. We're looking pretty good on our slopes. I can tell just by looking at that that's fine. The bridge, still a bit steep. Let's double check and see if there's anything that maybe we can do over here to possibly help us on this side to get that a little lower. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this over and get the bridge across. I don't know that I really want a suspension bridge, but we can deal with that later. So yeah, that's pretty terrible. But all fixable. All fixable. So let's see, what are our train heights? Let's grab this. So here we're at 69 again, and here we were at what? 67. So this is already lower than over here, and we want to make this even lower. So what I may wind up doing is just picking one of these at random. Let's also bring this way down. And let's see here. That's 62. That's 54. That's pretty low. Like, if we did 60 over here, what would that do to the... Yeah, I think that will give us what we need. And I don't think it's going to look too absurd to do this. I think this will help. So we're going to do that. We're going to bring our brush back up. That's probably a little too large. And get some of this smoothed out here. And that actually works kind of well with that ramp, so I like it. And then we're just going to bring that over to here. And then we'll worry about making all this transition together later. But for now, that gets us a better elevation there. So, let's take a beat on that. And come back in with our roads. And find our spot that we just leveled to, and I don't know where it is now, so we're gonna grab that and come over here and give ourselves a pad. And I know this looks terrible, but we're going to use our slope train tool in just a moment to fix it. So we're gonna bring that down, and then we're going to hopefully be able to grab that and just say go to train height. And yeah, that is probably a lot better in terms of our slope. Let's take a look at that real quick, because that is why we're doing all of this. So we've got a 2.1 and a 6.3. Now it's a 2.1 all the way across. I can live with that. Just want to make sure our clearances here are fine, and I do believe that they are. Yeah, that'll be fine for our taller vehicles. So cool. That gets that done, and then we are going to get the highway across the river. We don't want this elevated. Lovely jubbly. And then I don't like that it's at all these different elevations here. So we're just going to grab all these nodes and bring that to that. And we may as well do this one too. I think it already was, but yeah, we're good. So now our challenge is getting this over to this side of the railroad tracks and then making a connection over there, which is going to be so much fun. But first we need to get our rail reestablished and reconnected. So let's take a look at doing that. So first things first is we want to get rid of some of this legacy rail yard. It doesn't really serve us all that well. We may wind up, for now I'm going to leave a lot of that back there, but we're going to sever from about here over. Right to about there. And then I want to bring this rail over here around this hill. And again, I'm trying to make sure that we are respecting the train as best as we can. I want to bring this in tighter this direction. And then we're going to bring that across down here. I just want to get it kind of straight to the shoreline. And then we're going to go across. And again, it's not the prettiest right now, but don't worry, we'll get there. And then now I want to start transitioning this into a bridge. Do I have my snap twos off? I don't. It's just not wanting to actually snap. There we go. So we're going to start into a bridge, even though we're not going up yet. I'm going to come to about here. And actually, we're going to make a bit of a turn before we do that. Still going to be in bridge form, but I want to... Yeah, I like that. And then we're going to turn Anarchy off. And we're going to try to go straight across the highway here. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to come up 10 meters. Should be more than enough. And yeah, we get across the highway. Well, we did. There, it likes that. Cool. And then we will just make a connection into our existing rail. No, it's not going to quite make a good connection like that or like that. Let's use the curved road tool instead then. And see if we can't get a better connection that way. There we go. So those are all bridge pieces because I want to be able to slope them. And that should be fairly simple, but we've got some weirdness happening here that I want to take care of. First, I want to bring all of this up to that level, and that's fine. And then I want to come out of Move It, come into our network multi-tool, and I don't want the highway, I want the thank you, the railroad. And I want to slope from here right up to that point. A 0.3% grade is fantastic. And you can see why we use the bridge segment. In fact, we may even go ahead and just upgrade that bit to a bridge segment as well. And then over here, we can kind of just play with it and go as far back as we need to. 4%, not good enough. 3%, not good enough. 2%, getting better. 1.7. So there we go. I'd like to get like a 1.5 out of it, and we did. So 1.4. That's perfect. That gets our rail reestablished. And I'm just clicking all the wrong buttons here. And it gets us this highway connection, but we now have to get through all of this. And before we do that, we have to make this look a little better. So we're going to go to about, I think I want it to curve this way and then start following the rail. So I'm going to right click there and just follow the rough path that I want this to take up to there. And that looks pretty doggone good to me. Might give it a little bit more space on this side as well, and then we can always smooth it back out at the end. So this is not the road I meant to use. I meant to use the state highway, and somewhere along the way, selected that. That's all right. 4-lane, 2-lane highway. We can just come in here with this, go back to just normal segments, and then wabam. Lovely jubbly. Before I forget, though, I do want to add these bridge segments over here on the railroad. I will forget, so bear with me. I know we were about to do a highway, and now we're changing gears, but I will forget. I'll take that back. There we go, just a little bit there, and on this side, I want to do the same thing. I'm okay with a little bit of an embankment to build that up, but I don't want too much. So this has been a very expensive project so far. And it has been paid for with funding from federal funds, with state funds, with local funds, in the city, as well as local businesses. It has been quite the project, and we're almost done with it. Just a little bit more. I know this is definitely a bit longer than my Cities Skylines videos usually are. But it's for good reason. We've got a lot to do here. So I think what I want to do is mirror the railroad to about there. But of course I don't want to sit that close to the railroad. We want to bring that out probably around 50 meters. Just to give us plenty of space. I think that'll be fine. I think that will be just fine. I'm going to hit enter, plop that down, and then this made a bridge segment, and I don't want that. So we're going to come back into here, and I just saw a train go by. That makes me so happy to know that my railroad is not broken, and this is the mod's not working. Oops, tried to go in first-person camera again. I do that a lot. So we want to force this to be on the ground. There we go. And then we want to come through all of these nodes. Going to select them real quick. There we go. And I just want to align them to train height. And we do have a few gaps where the road is a little higher than the railroad, but that's okay. So then we can now come out of there, come back into this, use our picker mod, and then go back into our network multi-tool. And once again, create a nice curve. And for the most part, yes, that's a nice curve, but we can definitely improve it. So let's go from about here to about there and see what we come up with. And that looks fantastic. I'm really digging it. And then we just need to bring this now kind of straight this direction. But before we do, actually, no, not before we do. Let's go ahead and bring our highway over. I was going to just kind of eyeball it, but I think we really need to bring the highway over, and I really think the highway is going to need to curve a little bit more. So maybe we follow the railroad just a little bit farther. I'm going to turn anarchy back off. Let's just kind of eyeball this in here at roughly the same distance away. Now are we a little straighter to that? That's fine like that. I like this. This is good. And then we just need an interchange here. This is where I don't have anything from the Steam Workshop, I don't think. Because I want, obviously, a service interchange. But I only need it to go that direction. And I'm pretty sure all my service interchanges are complete overpasses. We're not? Is that? Oh, okay. Well, we can just do a cloverleaf. I'm not a fan of cloverleafs, but I have it, and that will solve our problem. It is going to require me to pause the game once again. I'm going to have to kind of eyeball this in, I think. So I'm going to get rid of a big section of this highway over here. Of course, it's saying shoreline required, but we know that's not true. So I kind of want to angle this in so that we're going to meet up with both of our highway ends. And I think this is probably pretty good. If we now come in and bring that back, and bring that back, we should be able to use our create curve mode to get all of this connected up quite nicely. I am good with that. I think that's fine. That's brings that curve on around. Let's see what we can do on this end with our 3-lane highways. And once again, making sure I've got the mod on. That wanted to grab the key wall that's there, and we don't want that. Bring that in there. I think that looks pretty fantastic. And one more. Are we going to go 3 for 3? Oh, man, it's looking promising. Yes, I think that will work just fine. And for the first time ever, the Mary and Max highways can now join in. Maybe. You just had some despawning. Is there a problem? Ooh, a bear. Hello, Mr. Bear. How are you? You might be Miss Bear, actually. If you're out foraging in the winter, you're probably looking for food for your babies. Anyways, I just want to watch this for a second and make sure that we don't have any weirdness with cars disappearing. Double check to make sure that there is a connection here. There is. Oh, that's new. I didn't know you could toggle back and forth. Yeah, there's a connection. It was just being strange. And look at how much traffic. We had the potential for so much more business to come through our town. Already, we're seeing... I mean, some of these are probably just passing through. Yeah, a lot of them. But, you know, yeah, they're driving out of the city. But not everybody. Not everybody. Let's see. You are coming in. Let's slow down time. Let's go to our first-person camera and take a nice little drive in a pickup truck. And of course, he is unfortunately heading out of town and not into town, but that's okay. We can come back over here now. That I like it. Let's check our usage and see how much of this is actually coming into town. We do have some left-hand turns there, so we've got a few. I didn't mean to click just a car. Oh yeah, look at that. We've got traffic coming from all directions to come into town. Quite a bit. A lot of private vehicles. A lot. But of course, we don't have any other way for people to get in here. However, we are going to soon rectify that with improving our rail connection. not sure that I love how this curves through here. I wonder if that couldn't have just gone straight across right there. I bet it could have, but we can deal with that later. So let's just make this look a little bit better right here before we end things. And I think we can do that just by softening the terrain, and it will be fine. And I think it should also give us a pretty good slope to bring this road maybe down and across this way. Just fine-tune this a little bit more right in through there. So definitely still have some irregularities here between our highway elevations. So let's deal with that. I want it to be right before we're done. I don't want to leave it in a weird state. For some reason, my Control H is not working. Maybe that is fine. Okay, yes, that one was fine. And those two nodes are side by side. There we go. That's a little bit better. This is now tragic, but that has pretty good clearance as is. Wow, we've got a lot of traffic wanting to leave town this direction. That's surprising. I do like that they're adhering to their dedicated lanes. That's good. Or they're not. They were. Now they're not. I don't know that we really need the traffic light there at the moment. Let's see if we can't make this a little bit better here. I mean, oh, we gotta come out and move it. And that is a middle. What if we slope that? Does nothing for us. So let's try this and see if we can't. It's the parallel road tool. Helps to click the right button, doesn't it? Let's see if we can't just improve it that way. It's a pretty steep bit, but you're slowing down to go up that hill. Let's just hope you have some good winter tires for when the road is nice and slippery. We could bring this down on this side. Yeah, we really could. This doesn't need to be that high. I mean, look, there's one of the larger trucks right there. I know it's a mail truck, and there are some things that are taller, but let's get him a little closer there and bring this down. And just to be sure that we're getting good clearance here. Yeah, I think that's fine. So then what we would want to do is do 2 more slopes. We can then pause. Man, there's a lot of traffic coming through here. I think if we slope from there to there, we'll be all right. Yep, 2%, that's better. And then from here to here. Oh, that's not going to change because that's just one segment. So that's a little steep. And my gosh, I am so surprised by the amount of traffic wanting to leave town going that direction. I did not think we would see so much traffic. What we're going to do to help them out is assign them lanes here. Well, they've got some lane assignments. We're going to restrict this. There's no need for them to be able to go to both lanes from both directions here. There just isn't. Now going straight, that's fine, and coming straight across this way, that's fine, because I think you've got a green light to do that. But if we force them on these turns, in fact, I want to make sure they stay in the right lane and that they stay in the left lane. There we go. I think that will help us out with traffic. We may need to increase. Yeah, we're definitely going to need to increase how long this phase is, or we might, this should be set up already as a time traffic light, yeah? It is not. It is a standard traffic light. Okay, so we can set up a time traffic light, hold down control, and let it do its thing, and I bet that will take care of the problem for us on its own. Let's just watch this traffic for just a minute and see if it doesn't improve. And if not, we'll look into fixing it next time around. I know it's not getting any better, but one thing that we haven't done is connect this collector down here, which is something that is planned. I just wasn't going to do it today, but I'm now just curious. Let's turn anarchy back off. I'm just curious if they have a connection, what will happen. I want to prioritize the movement into the industry and then bring this collector that we do have people living on, but you know, that's they chose to build there, or maybe I chose for them. So I want to come up here and make a connection like that. And then, you know what? We've been relying on the mod so much today. I'm just curious. What will it come up with for us? I like that. I'm interested to see, because a lot of this traffic is getting back on the highway here. If they have this as an option, maybe some of the stuff that's actually wanted to stay in town can just take this collector. That may introduce some issues along the line or down the road here, literally down the road. But those are all a problem for future, Brandon, as I like to say. And we'll deal with them as they come up. I think that this might also help some of the traffic that's wanting to leave town come down this way and get on the highway here from this direction instead of having to come up on the highway and then go through. I don't know how much of this traffic is coming from outside of the town. We can look at that real fast. If I click right here, a lot of that is traffic from outside of the city. Wanting to go to this other highway. There is the potential that we could maybe even bring a ramp that comes off that way and one that comes off this way to join in, so that anybody that's just using this to leave town can, without having to come through this intersection, because right now it's not holding up to the traffic. But then again, we haven't let it run for too terribly long to see how it normalizes, but we'll have to come back to that. For now, though, I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out. And I hope you are too. There we go. We're looking at the traffic right there, and there's part of our problem is lane changes. But if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think about all of our infrastructure improvements. I know we didn't do a whole lot with the town itself, just a few crematoriums and a couple trees. But we'll pick right back up with some more development next time. And until then, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.